Hello everyone, my name is Dee and I'm with Hidden Truth Tarot, and I'm here to do a special spread for my survivors of abuse. This spread and video is meant to help survivors who have been recently triggered, especially now with Pluto in retrograde. Pluto deals with the subconscious and psychic energies and psychic abilities. And a lot of people are dealing with some of the things that have happened to them, some of the traumatic situations that have happened to them. A lot of us sometimes, because we're on the go. We don't have time to really sit down and mourn and take care of our spirits. And this is especially true for a lot of us who don't really have the financial means to get the help you really need, or you don't have the time to take off work to just grieve and process what happened to you, because you're the only breadwinner. You can't spend a month or 2 months in the house crying and processing what happened to you, because somebody's got to go and make the donuts, somebody's got to pay the bills. So again, this video is going to be I wanted to serve as a way of helping people, survivors of abuse, understand triggers, how to assess a trigger, and maybe put something in place so that when you are triggered, you can recognize it and you can immediately go to what you have in place to help to ground you. All right, one moment, please. All right, so what we're going to do here is we're going to do a 5-card spread. And we're going to talk about the cards and see what guidance we get from the divine. Hope everybody is having a good day, but definitely wanted to do this spread for my survivors of abuse. Hopefully it will shed some insight for you. Okay, so at this time, it probably makes sense that the overall energy for the reading is instability. This is the 4 of Wands in reverse. And when the 4 of Wands is in reverse, this means that there is no structure, no stability, which means that you may have very well been recently triggered. Okay? And when I say triggered, I mean something happened, maybe something happened at the job, something may have happened out out and about in the social life, but something that got you upset, that brought you back to a time where you were in the midst of this traumatic situation. It's like post-traumatic stress disorder. You still will feel the effects of the traumatic situation, maybe sometimes for the rest of your life, depending on who you are. But what you have to do is you have to learn how to understand what your triggers are, and then when you realize you're being triggered, understand that, so that you can maybe put something in place for the future so that you don't go off the deep end once you're triggered. All right. So you may have been experiencing some negative karma. It doesn't matter if, you're a survivor of abuse or not. Unfortunately, we all experience bad karma sometimes because we went down the wrong path. Sometimes the abuse that we've experienced would be because we went down the wrong path. Sometimes it's just a matter of something that we were just in the wrong place at the wrong time. But it looks as though right now things are going on here, and we need to find out, what it is and what's triggering us and how we can go about taking care of that, so that in the event we're triggered in the future, we know what to do, so that we don't ruin our what we worked so hard for. Because when you are a survivor of abuse, your whole world changes, your whole attitude changes. Some of us become very closed in, afraid to deal with people and go out into the world, and a lot of us become very non-confrontational. Excuse me. And so we tend to put ourselves in situations where we allow people to walk over us, because we fear that if we're confrontational, they may be more the aggressor. They may turn around and be the aggressor, and then here we are in a traumatic, abusive situation again. Then there are some of us who, because of this situation that we were in, we took on the ideology of, well, nobody cared about me. I was looked at as weak. I was looked at as prey. And I'm not going to be prey. I'm not going to be looked at as weak. So some of us tend to take on a more aggressive attitude. And we become more aggressive, and we can even feel it in ourselves and see it in our actions and our activities with others. Like, we take very little shit. We're quick to it's sort of like the Queen of Wands, the Queen of Swords energy. But what it is the Queen of Swords energy in reverse is what it is, because you haven't really healed. Okay? And you're still processing those things that happened to you. And so what you're doing is you're putting up a shield with that aggression and that no take shit attitude, and you're basically just putting up it's like an armor you put up to allow, to keep people from getting inside, because you're still vulnerable and raw on the inside from the incident that happened. Also, there are a lot of temptations that are out here. Anything can trigger you. It could be something that went on at work. It could be something that went on with a family member. It could be something that went on with a significant other. And so we have to understand what it is when we're being triggered, and how to assess it quickly before it escalates to the point where you're in a situation where you lose your job, or you lose your loved one, or you your lover, or you get into a situation with a family member where it's like, okay, now you have to sit down and maybe reveal to them what happened to you because of your behavior. In the work environment, you could lose your job because they don't understand your behavior. They think because you were triggered, you might be more aggressive, or you might shut down right in the middle of, performing your job, which could very well put you in a situation where you could be fired. So we have to look at the triggers that are going on in our lives. We have to, look at the people in our lives. And we have to look at, more importantly, the energy that we're putting out there. Because whether we realize it or not, whether we're the survivors who shun away from everything and avoid confrontation, or whether we're the survivors who take on aggressive nature because we don't want to be looked at as prey ever again, that can exude devil energy. That is a representation of devil energy. Okay? And we really need to be able to look at that, and look at that from a manner of, is this healthy for me? I know this is how I feel because of what happened to me, and this is a change that happened to me, and I had no say in it, And so what it can do is, if you continue to take on those attitudes, it can bring on bad karma. Okay? And it could hinder a lot of new beginnings in life. Okay? With the Ace of Wands in reverse here. It can hinder a lot of new beginnings. Not just because people see your behavior and they're a bit nervous about you, but because you could have, the self-sabotaging behavior of, just that, especially that aggressive behavior, and even so that behavior where you're just, okay, I don't want any confrontation. that can put you in a position where you don't have new beginnings because you're afraid. You're afraid to take a leap of faith. You're afraid to step out there. And that could be in affairs of love as well. Okay? That's the Knight of Cups here. So that could definitely happen in affairs of love. And a lot of times when we're triggered, the first thing we want to do is get away from everybody. Run away from everybody. Run off. Move away as quickly as possible. And seclude ourselves. But when we're in that space of seclusion, what are we doing? Are we just sitting there licking our wounds? Yes, we are. But also, what we need to be focused on and what we need to be doing is we need to be putting ourselves in a position where, okay, yes, this happened to me. It was unfortunate. There may have been some things I could have done to change that, but I can't do it now. There's nothing I can do about it now. It's in the past. I need to be able to move on. All right? And once we move on and we get out of our head, okay, because you're in your head when you run away, you're in your head, and you basically just need to be grounded. And so in order for us to be grounded, we need to understand ways that we can ground ourselves. Okay? And so what we need to do is we need to possibly, in reference to grounding, look at our friends and our family around us. This is the Queen of Pentacles. She is the most grounded woman in tarot. Okay, the most grounded queen of all. So this is the energy we want to embody. Okay? And in order for us to do that, we have to come out of our heads, and we have to communicate and live life. Like, we can't just stay closed up. We have to come out, celebrate, be with friends and family, because this is the way that we would be able to put normalcy back into our lives. So the best thing for us to do is to start thinking about, okay, what is it that triggers me? What kind of behavior or activity in my life has triggered me? And before we even think about that, I just want to emphasize that this is specifically for people who have repressed dealing with their traumatic situation. Those who just, okay, I don't have time to deal with this. I don't have time to grieve. Or those who are being triggered for the first time. They may have suppressed that, and it may have been a few years, and now all of a sudden you're being triggered. And this may be your first trigger, and you're realizing, oh my God, what is going on with me? So this is for you. This is for those who are very fresh in their traumatic experience. Because you're going to start seeing, you're going to see changes in your behavior and your attitude, and you're going to understand where it came from, but you may not understand what those changes are yet until you actually see them, until you're actually triggered. And that's going to go for the person who's repressed it as well, because they may just not have had a trigger yet for a while. So we need to take a look at those things that are in those people, places, and things that are in our lives that are really not serving us. Okay? Not giving us wish fulfillment. And we really need to be able to assess them and decide if this is something that we really need in our lives, or if it is something that we're just using as a crutch. Because if we're using it as a crutch, eventually it's going to all fall down with the Tower in reverse. And you may be stuck and not know how to get out of that situation. So what I want to do now is I want to pull a Isis Oracle to get us some advice from Spirit, from the Divine. Okay? So I'm going to try to shuffle these big cards here. So, okay, so I pulled past life, present power. Okay, past life, present power. Now I'm going to grab the book so that I can read what that means. Okay, past life, present power. Page 113. Okay, give me 1 second. I'm just going to put my glasses on. The wording is very small here. Okay, past life, present power. When the soul is growing in service to humanity, in service to the great feminine and her call that all beings be healed and free, it gathers internal resources to assist on the path. These resources include power and gifts from other lifetimes. You are currently integrating past life abilities, and you're guided by the oracle of past life present power to be open to shifting internally and in your experience of your own levels of power and spiritual ability. And it's the same talents, abilities, and powers wish to be restored to you now from past incarnations. This will help your path. You will often be able to recognize this because you will feel some instant fascination or deep interest for a culture, philosophy, heritage, or even a place on earth or beyond, which is deeply compelling. This is your intuitive recognition that a part of your soul connected with this passionate interest is being drawn into integration. At such times, there can be emotions, feelings, and even phobias or fears that temporarily arise. You may even feel, you may even find your tastes for food and clothing and your deep and other habits change quickly and noticeably for a time. These can all be signs that a past life energy is being integrated. All right. So what this card is basically saying is to trust in the divine in reference to healing. So meditation would be a great thing to do because it will allow you to go into the subconscious and to grab onto those psychic energies and those psychic abilities and get those downloads from the divine so that you're able to better control your emotions, especially when you are triggered. All right. And this will even help you to avoid being triggered. So I would recommend meditation. Okay. If you can do it maybe 10 minutes in the morning before you get out of the bed, once you wake up and you're fully awake, just sit there for 10 minutes in silence. You can turn on some meditative music and just meditate and just be thankful and just, repeat affirmations to yourself that you are not a victim, that you are not a survivor, that this experience happened to you, but it is not going to take away your dignity and your respect. And you command and demand your place on this earth just like everyone else. All right? So I just wanted to pass on a little positive energy and positive vibes to my survivors of abuse and let you know that the divine is with you, and to wish you all well in your venture to be able to control being triggered. The reality is that, we're going to be triggered periodically. But if we focus on what types of things we have going on in our lives, and it's key We need to take better care of ourselves, especially because we are survivors of abuse. We have to definitely take more care of ourselves. We have to be better at what we eat. We have to pay more attention to the types of people around us, and pay more attention to what we allow and what we don't allow in our lives as far as how we're treated. Excuse me. And it's also very important that we meditate so that we can keep our mental focus and keep ourselves grounded, so that in the event that we are triggered, it won't throw us for a loop where we end up, messing up relationships and losing jobs, and being to the point where we're so distraught that, we don't know, we have a temporary mental block. All right. So I hope that this message helps someone. And if you want a more in-depth conversation about this, have some more questions, feel free to reach out below. I am not a counselor. All I will be able to do is pull the cards and just talk with you about your situation, and maybe make some suggestions and refer you to someone who might be able to, or some references, refer you to someone or some references who would be able to help you with your situation. All right. So be at peace and have a blessed day.